Hey guys, my name is Lucas Snyder. I'm a mixing and mastering engineer who specializes in EDM and other genres of music like lo-fi, stuff like that. And today I'm going to be talking all about compression. I'm going to show you two different ways you can use compression. And once you understand this and understand why and how to use compression, it's going to take you a long way in your music production journey. So let's go ahead and hop in and get started right now. First, what you need to know, the two main purposes for compression are either to shape the tone of a signal, so kind of change the character of a sound. And then the second kind of main purpose of compression is to control the dynamic range of a signal. So first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the first one. I'm going to show you how we can shape the tone of, in this case, drums. So let's go ahead and hop in and do that right now. So I've got this little percussion loop right here. Go ahead and take a listen. This is a group of a bunch of different drums, like all underneath one group in Ableton. Go ahead and take a listen. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this off. I'm going to go ahead and take a brand new compressor. Let's just use Ableton's stock compressor. We're going to go ahead and throw it on here. And just to quickly kind of go through the controls of a compressor. So ratio is essentially how, I guess you could say, how much compression or how strong the compressor is. And so the ratio affects the threshold here. And so when you pull down the threshold, let's go ahead and pull the threshold down. So when you start having signal go past the threshold, the ratio controls how much of that gets let through. So a 4:1 ratio would mean that every 4 dB that goes above the threshold, only 1 dB is getting let through. And then if it was 2:1, so then a 4:1 is like an average ratio. And one thing to keep in mind that's really helpful is that low ratios like 4:1 work really well with lower thresholds. So you can bring that threshold down. High thresholds like 10:1 or higher work really well for catching peaks, working really well for like higher thresholds. So that's something to keep in mind. It's not like a hard rule, but that's something you keep in mind going forward. When we would turn this Ableton compressor on peak mode, which makes it basically act like a real compressor, so that because RMS measures the average over time, peak makes it so that when it goes over this threshold, it's acting like a real compressor. Attack time is how quickly the compressor starts to begin compressing once that signal goes over the threshold. And typically 1 millisecond would be fairly fast. When you get to about 10 milliseconds, that's slowing down. That's like in the middle. And then 30 milliseconds, I'd consider like a slow attack time, which is going to be important here in a second. Release time is how quickly it goes back to normal after it stops compressing. And 30 milliseconds would be somewhat of a quick release. You can think about release times like, well, first of all, attack time, you can think fast attack is going to it's going to really compress fast and it's going to kind of shave down any transients. Slower attack's going to let things pop through and going to kind of emphasize the attack. Release, if it's a fast release, it's going to reset and it can build the sustain. It can lengthen the sustain of a signal. So if a piano hits, it'll be like boom. When that release comes up, it can actually make the sustain longer. A longer release will kind of hold the compressor down and it'll actually kind of lower the sustain of a signal. Let's just keep this where it's at. And then let's see here. The knee is basically like how transparent the compressor is. So if you have a hard knee, and you can actually see what it looks like here. Where is that at? Like this. So a hard knee like this, it just makes it so that you hear the compression more. It's kind of hard to explain. Soft knee is like, it's more transparent. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys that in a second. And then makeup gain, if you have auto makeup gain on, it's just going to, you want to leave that off because if you pull down the threshold, it's going to make the gain go up automatically. And the reason you want to leave that off is because when the gain goes up, your brain thinks, oh, louder is better. I'm doing great here. Awesome. When that's not the case, you want to control the gain so that you can match the original signal with a new gain that you set yourself, and then you can go back and forth and you can really hear the difference there. Okay. And so let's just bring this attack up to like 10 milliseconds again. By the way, if you double click any of these, it just resets, by the way. And so we want to go ahead and use our own makeup gain using this out right here. And then look ahead time. It just is a way that the compressor can look ahead in the signal and predict when a transient might come in. And we can just leave this at 0, no look ahead time. It's fine. And honestly, that's like basically it for most of the compressor settings that are important for you to understand. There is different filters, but we're not going to worry about that right now. Let's just go ahead and get to compressing. So we got these drums. What I'm going to do to show you an example of both kind of affecting the shape of a signal or like the tone and compressing it is how we can do it right here. So I'm going to put a like really fast attack, and then I'm going to go ahead and just lower the the threshold, and you can take a listen to how it affects these drums. And I'm going to go ahead and even boost the gain so you can match these. Let's turn it off and on. So you can hear with a fast attack, it's really smashing those drums. And in particular, there's a snare and a clap going on. It just totally wrecks those, right? And there might be a case where you want to smash a snare drum like that. And if that's what you want to do, go for it. But in this case, it's going to be better if we actually have a slow attack, really emphasizing that way the clap and the snare, they're kind of popping through, and then finding that in between where we're kind of controlling the dynamics, but it's not, but we're all letting some stuff through. It's going to make it nice and tight and then punchy. And that's what we're going to go for. So I'm going to leave I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to leave the threshold here. I'm going to start slowly bringing this attack. And actually we can make the release time just like fairly quick. Let's click that. I'm going to bring the attack time, start slowly bringing it up, and just listen to what it does to the signal, okay? You can already hear it sounds a lot better than it did, or in my, better is kind of a, subjective word, but. And then now let's go up to 20 and then 30 milliseconds, and we'll even lower the threshold a little bit more. Now check out what happens. I'm going to make the gain a little bit, the output gain a little bit lower so I can really hear that. Okay, here's no compression. And now with compression, I'm going to bring this down back to about like, let's do like 10 milliseconds. That's too fast. Let's do like 20, let's just do 30 milliseconds again. So you can hear that with that 30 milliseconds, doing some compression, add some output gain, it makes those drums just nice and punchy. And you can use like the glue compressor here, for example, if you want to glue the sound together, but also get that punchy sound. And so that's what we talk about, how when we're using compression to shape the tone of a signal, that's what we mean. And so that's the example there. Now let's go ahead and move on to vocals, and I'll show you, and we'll talk about compressing for controlling the dynamic range of a signal. Okay, so here we have a vocal, and this is a raw vocal. All I've done to it is done a little bit of EQ and to kind of clean it up a little bit. But other than that, there's no effects on it at all. And I was going to solo this vocal, but then I decided it's better to actually play the vocal in the context of the mix, because then it's easier to understand why we actually need to use compression. So Here's my Ableton compressor. I'm going to leave this off. I'm going to go ahead and just play the vocal. Go ahead and take a listen to what we're working with here. And then we'll start compressing and then go back and forth. So here we go.
I was sleeping before we met, in the dark and tired. I was reckless, so I admit I started on my fire.
Okay, so you hear how the vocals kind of coming in and out. It's dynamic, and when we say dynamic or dynamics, we mean the difference between the loud parts and the soft parts of a signal. And so the reason it's important that we compress, especially a vocal and EDM, is that if you have a vocal in your track, it is the most important element of your track. And what we want to do is compress it, even it out, so that it can sit nice and like it can just sit on your vocal or on the top of your track and just be heard perfectly throughout the entire thing. And so if we listen like over here, for example, when she'll say a word and it gets kind of lost. I'll go ahead and take a listen.
I started on my fire.
So she's, I started all my fires.
I started on my fire.
You're like, what? I can't hear that. And so what we do here is we're going to take this compressor. I'm going to leave it on 4:1 ratio. I'm going to show you a little compressor trick here in a second, but I'm going to go 4:1. Keep the attack time fast. A vocal can have a really fast attack time because there's not a lot of transient information in a vocal. So you're not going to like squash the crap out of it. So like just whatever. I'm going to go ahead and just lower the threshold, raise up the gain, and then and match them, and you can take a listen to the difference, okay?
I was sleeping before we met, in the dark and tired. I was reckless, so I admit I started on my fire. I was sleeping. I was sleeping. I was sleeping.
Okay, I'm just gonna go up to 7. Okay, so now I'm gonna play the compressed version, and what you're listening for is that the loud parts aren't too loud, they're being toned down, and the quiet parts, because we took the entire thing and boosted up the volume, now you're gonna everything's just gonna be more even, and you can hear those little words a lot more clearly. So go ahead and take a listen.
I was sleeping before we met, in the dark and tired. I was reckless, so I admit I started on my fire.
So this is, to me, is one of the most beautiful examples of compression. So look, go ahead. I'm going to play this again. Actually, I'm going to play it just right here, and I'm going to repeat it with compressor on. So no compression. Listen for that word getting lost. And then with compression, listen how you can hear it really clearly.
So I admit I started on my fire. So I admit I started on my fire.
And you can hear it's not like I'm blasting the gain up. Like the gain, it's like they're the same volume. But then those quiet parts could also get boosted up and it gets compressed, literally compressed. And now we can hear the entire vocal again. And just to show you kind of a little more advanced trick that we can do, earlier I talked about how using low ratios with lower thresholds works well, and high thresholds with high ratios with high thresholds works really well. Let's go ahead and do a little compressor stacking technique. And we're going to go ahead and do a 10:1 ratio. Let's make it a quick attack. We'll do a 4:1 ratio, make that a little bit slower of attack. And now I'm going to just catch the peaks with this compressor, have a little bit of makeup gain going into this compressor. Let's group them together. Boom, 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 group. And then this is just like a nice little compression stacking technique. You get the same effect if you were to stack the LA76 with the LA2A, or the whatever it's called. Let's see. The CLA76 with the LA2A analog modeled compressors. And so I'm going to go ahead and play with this really quick, get this done here.
I was sleeping before we met, in the dark and tired.
Now it's okay. We'll leave this one off.
I was sleeping before we met, in the dark and tired.
You can see how it's going into this compressor. It's all already pretty even. And now let's just go ahead and bring this down.
I was sleeping before we met, in the dark and tired. I was sleeping before we met, in the dark and tired. I was reckless, so I admit I started on my fire.
Okay, So I'm not going to go take a long time on this, but you can hear it's making a big difference. So now let's go ahead, no compression, and then I'll go back and forth with the compressor on and off. Okay, here's no compression.
I was sleeping before we met in the dark and tired. I was reckless, so I admit I started on my fight.
We'll do one more time.
I was sleeping before we met in the dark and tired.
And so that's a nice way we can stack compressors. When you have one compressor doing a little bit of work and another compressor doing a little bit more work, it can kind of make it more transparent and really compress the vocal in a nice way. And we've evened out those dynamics, and now we can place that vocal nice and up front in the mix. And it's really as simple as that. And so just a quick summary, you can either use a compressor to shape the tone of a signal, add punch, or take punch out of something, or to control the dynamic range just like this. And if you understand this about compression, just understand why you use compressors like this. It's going to make it so much easier on your music production journey. So that is pretty much it. If you're at the end of this video and you are a producer and you're working on a track right now and you just can't seem to get it to that professional level sound that you're looking for, maybe you're far away from that, or maybe you're like just right there and you want that edge before you upload it to streaming or before you send it to a record label, well, look in the description below. I am a mixing and mastering engineer, and I can help get your track to that professional level sound. I usually offer a pretty big discount for first mixes and masters. So use code 50OFF. I'll put it in the description, and then click the link below and go submit your mix to me, and I'll mix and master it in a day or two and get that back to you. And I like to work with producers to really help them get to that professional level as quickly as possible. So go ahead and do that. And I look forward to talking to you soon. All right. See you guys again next time.